Hey guys, Shane here from Laser Gaming, and in this video I wanted to talk about Black Ops 4's Blackout Battle Royale game mode. So I'm going to be comparing it to Fortnite's map in this and sort of the size of the Black Ops 4 map that we know so far and that kind of stuff. Before I get into this video, just like say, if you guys want news on everything in the gaming universe, Call of Duty, Battlefield, even a little Fortnite here and there, subscribe down below. But I just sort of want to talk about my background with Call of Duty because for most of you on this channel, you probably know me from Battlefield. I'm primarily a Battlefield YouTuber, but I do play COD a decent amount, more for the competitive, because it's one of the only games with a decent sized competitive scene on console. I know Rainbow Six is there also, but I just never really got into that. So I really do play Call of Duty a decent amount competitively. I've won online tournaments for it for money and that kind of stuff. So I generally do follow the Call of Duty scene a decent amount, and when they announce a new game. When I heard about the rumors about Black Ops 4 Battle Royale, I was sort of excited and sort of wary at first. Call of Duty Online has a Battle Royale mode, and so that only has about like 18 players. So I was kind of thinking, oh, if they bring that in, it's just sort of a decent sized map, that's going to kind of stink, and I don't think it'll really be able to compete with anything. But then when we saw the reveal of Blackout, it seemed to be something a lot more than that. So that's going to show on screen kind of soon, and basically Blackout is a lot more than just simply just a big Call of Duty map and Battle Royale. They're truly reinventing Call of Duty in many ways with this, and I know that it isn't the core multiplayer of the game. The game's still going to have its core multiplayer, it's still going to have zombies, but Battle Royale is going to play a much bigger role in Call of Duty than obviously in any previous year, but I think it's going to play a much bigger role than many people maybe anticipated, because they seem to be reinventing a lot with this. So as you can see, there's sort of the trailer concept right here going through, and basically at first when people saw this, like, oh, it's just going to be a decent sized map, it's not really going to be anything big, but it does look kind of cool. Seems like they're going to have some specialists, they're going to have crates, and they're going to have quite a bit of people here. And we also see like drones, RC cars. You see a guy controlling an RC car right there, which is really cool. And that opens up a lot of different concepts. But then when we begin to zoom out, it's like, okay, wait a minute, how big are we going here? We see guys skydiving, guys rappelling down the side of the building right there, and you just see a lot more than you thought you would. You see helicopters, you see vehicles, and they also show water, and they talk that there's also going to be boats. So we're getting planes, boats, and vehicles, ground vehicles coming in this, which is really awesome. Now this means that this Battle Royale map is going to be pretty big, and a lot of the different locations we see are going to be different Call of Duty maps from the past, which is pretty cool. At least different Black Ops maps from the past. You can see the bridges on the water there, and there's just a lot of pretty cool stuff coming into this, something I didn't expect from Call of Duty. Now, can it compete with Fortnite? Now, the one thing I'm going to be looking at in this video is the size of the map. I'm going to talk about a bit more things, but first I kind of want to get into the size of the map. That's probably why a lot of you clicked onto this video, so I just sort of want to give you guys that information. So what they compared it to in the reveal was NukeTown. They said that this is going to be 1,500 times the size of NukeTown. Now, people, when this first happened, people were like, okay, so that's going to be pretty big. But a website called Twin Galaxies actually went and did the math. So they took the size of NukeTown just based off of like what the house sizes would be like and that kind of stuff. And it's sort of a rough estimate, but I think it's a pretty good estimate. And obviously they extrapolate it pretty far because you have to multiply by 1,500, so the numbers could be off. But what they came up with is that when you multiply NukeTown by 1,500, you get about, like, I'd say between 2.5 and 3 kilometers of square map size, which is pretty big. However, Fortnite's map size is actually 5.6 kilometers squared. And I meant 3 kilometers squared for the Call of Duty one. So Fortnite's map is roughly 2 times bigger than the Call of Duty map. And what makes this seem kind of weird is that the Call of Duty map has vehicles and the Fortnite map doesn't. So you're going to be traversing this pretty quickly in the Call of Duty map and moving through it pretty fast when compared to the Fortnite one. And while I do want to think that that's maybe a concern, it might be a blessing in certain senses. So Call of Duty knows that Fortnite has a monopoly on Battle Royale right now. Fortnite is doing way better than pretty much any other Battle Royale game, H1Z1, PUBG, and those ones. But what Call of Duty can do is they can fill a niche of the Battle Royale games that are fast-paced, because there isn't really a super fast-paced, high-octane Battle Royale game right now. One that would necessarily probably reward skill, more frequent gunfights, high kills. That is a niche that Call of Duty can fill with a map that's slightly smaller like this. So some of the concepts they could do with stuff like airplanes, cars, and boats is they could really reward players for their kills. Now this also goes into sort of the RC cars and the drones that they have, but something that Call of Duty's always been good at is kill streaks and rewarding players who do well. Now I know many people think of Call of Duty as a low skill game and doesn't really, you know, cater towards a competitive or good player, but you have to remember that for those who do really well in a Call of Duty game, they get rewarded with even more kills and they get to experience the next level of gameplay within the game. Now, this is really interesting for a Battle Royale game because this means that if you're doing really well, or if you get a bunch of kills or your squad's doing well, you get rewards. So I'm just going to sort of outline a few different ways they could implement this. I'm not saying they're going to do it this way, but I think this would be a super cool way to do it. So, at first it starts off where everyone drops. No vehicles, no nothing at the start of the game. Sort of like Fortnite where it's super hectic at the beginning of the game. So from Call of Duty's perspective, what's the point of adding all these vehicles and stuff if it's already going to be super epic at the beginning when there's the maximum amount of players in the lobby. However, as the game progresses and squads get more kills, maybe they slowly add in these vehicles and elements for the players who stay in longer. Now, what they could do even further to reward players who really go out and try their hardest to sort of pick up the fast-paced action is they could do it as kill streaks. For example, a concept that Level Cap said is if you have like a squad reward, you could get squad kill streaks, which would be pretty cool. So I'm gonna sort of further his concept, but a squad kill streak could, for example, be like if your squad hits 10 kills, you guys get a Jeep, and then you guys can travel around. I think what this would really do is it would emphasize Call of Duty's Battle Royale Blackout as a much more fast-paced Battle Royale, one that's going to reward people for going out and getting kills and will be a lot less campy. This is something that I think is definitely needed in the Battle Royale scene, and while I wouldn't necessarily say that it would take away from Fortnite because Fortnite's so good, it would fill a niche in the Battle Royale community that isn't already there. Now, I sort of want to give you guys an idea of how this would work and how fast-paced it would be by sort of showing an overlay of the two maps. I may have just thrown it in earlier when I was talking about it, but I do sort of want to talk about it again. So as you can see, the Call of Duty map, just based on this concept and the fact that it's roughly half the size of Fortnite, you can see it right here. It would pretty much just take up the central map of the Fortnite area, which would include like Tilted Towers, Retail Row, Salty Springs, Dusty Divot, those areas, and a little bit of like Pleasant Park. That central portion of the map would be how big the Call of Duty map is. So I don't think that's that big of a deal. I think that's still a pretty good size, especially since Call of Duty's engine probably can't handle 100 players. It'll probably only be able to handle 50 or 60. I'd say that this is a pretty sufficient size to accommodate that amount of players, and it'll still be pretty action-packed, but at the same time it won't be too overcrowded at that size. I really hope they can push the engine to have 50 or 60 players, because if it's only like 20 players, that's not really as cool, and you won't really be able to get as many high-kill games. So, one last thing is, I think that the sort of release date of this is interesting. They have a lot to work on for this, whether they're going to do first person or third person. I think they should do first person just because, again, fills their own niche that isn't already created. And also whether they do put specialists into it. Again, it could work in like a kill streak format, or towards the end of the game, if you stayed in for a while, you could earn your specialist like a flamethrower or an annihilator. I don't think those would be as cool. I think those should be more like kill streaks or come from drops, like we see with the other stuff I've been talking about. But all this stuff is a lot for Call of Duty. They have a lot on their hands to develop, and while it is being developed likely by a separate studio, Raven Software, with just Black Ops elements in it, it's going to take a while. So taking that into account, and also the fact that they didn't show gameplay, there is a chance that this will be released after the initial launch of the game. Sort of like how we saw in Modern Warfare Remastered with the campaign and the multiplayer being released separately, I think we could see this here. So I think that they may release the Battle Royale a little bit late. Again, we won't know. I'm hoping we'll get a beta for the multiplayer and then a second beta for the Battle Royale. Guys, tell me what you think about this down below. Do you think the size is about right, about 1500 times the size of NukeTown? Tell me what you guys think about these concepts of Killstreaks and Battle Royale. I think that would be super, super cool. And I think it would really reward the players that go out and are play aggressive, and it would allow Call of Duty to fill their own Battle Royale niche rather than just blending in with the market. Because I feel like if they try to do that, they're really not going to be able to compete with Fortnite, a game who by the time Call of Duty releases will have had 6 more months to polish their Battle Royale. And I really don't think Call of Duty will be able to compete with them unless they truly innovate in the Battle Royale scene. If you guys enjoyed the video, don't forget to drop a like down below. Subscribe if you are new here for everything in the gaming universe. But that's about it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
Your favorite characters, your favorite weapons, iconic parts of your favorite maps. And we're putting them all in one place. A crazy collision of fun. And letting you navigate it with land, sea, and air vehicles. Something you haven't experienced before. This is something totally new. This is doing Battle Royale the Black Ops way. This is Blackout.